is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Probably a short video, but you know me. It's come round to the turn of actually watering the resting Dendrobiums and one other. That is only coming round every like 2.5 to 3 weeks, and as a consequence we don't ever look at those plants. They never come down. They're coming down to have a flush today, or a trickle, depending on what state they're in. If they look like they're starting to desiccate, they'll get watered. If they're not, they'll get a trickle, just to keep them ticking over. But we haven't had a look at them for a long time. We may have some buds, although I do believe it's probably still too early. We've only just got into February. From memory, I think the little nubbins start to show end of February as we go into March. But we'll have a look. No harm in looking, as they say. Now, obviously this is a flush, so water straight out. And we'll see what we can do. Everything up high has to be right-handed today because my hole in my arm has decided to hurt today. It's obviously a bruise, isn't it? Can't make a hole in things without some sort of pain, surely. Right, well the first one we've got down is a phyllum, and we have buds. Not only do we have buds, boy do we have a lot of them. Now, they've snuck up on me. They start here, they're tiny, so you have to look, yeah? So, and they come out in pairs. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, probably 34, 35 buds showing on that single cane. That's going to be quite a show. It's a way off yet. I don't think any of the other canes are liable to have any buds because they've already bloomed. And Dendrobium phyllum tends to only bloom on a cane once, even if it's a poor blooming and doesn't use all the nodes. But this looks like it's going to be a good blooming. It's literally right down to the end. I'll see how close I can get so that you can see, at least see the nubbins, if it stays in focus. The camera's on the tripod, so it should do. They are tiny, but they're in between the leaves, just so you know what you're looking at. And there are a lot of them. Some of those nubbins have actually got 3 buds, I think, but it's in the main it'll be 2. So as that's coming into growth, bud, that will get a proper water. So that will get a soak today. And that will just basically G the plant up, because at the moment all of the growth activity, whatever that might be, and there are a few root tips active at the moment, whatever that is going to use its stored reserves at the moment because it's getting no extra help. So come next time round when this comes down, this will get some feed to help those buds on the way, because by then they might be getting quite large. Got to find somewhere to put these things. So I haven't put the other stuff back yet because it would be in the way and stop me getting these down. So I'm going to run out of space and places to put things. Next is Jenkinsii. There won't be any spikes on there yet. And it's difficult to tell with Jenkinsii and Lindei whether the bulbs are shrivelling or not. But there's certainly no sign of any spikes yet. This is a later bloomer. This isn't a late winter, early spring. It's a spring heading towards summer by the time this comes round. So that's just going to have a trickle. So all I do is just gently, just in some of the gaps. And when I've finished, all of the moss won't be wet, only some of it. And that's all it's going to get. It's just to keep it ticking over, basically. So that's that one. Where are we going to put that? You can go there for now. It's going to take me a while to sort this lot out. Never mind. And then this one is not a dendrobium, but I treat it as a resting plant. This is my Ansellia africana. And I treat it as a resting plant because in its normal environment it's a warm grower. Well, it ain't warm here at the moment, so I assume it's slowed right down or even stopped growing. There is no sign of growth on that plant. There's no root activity, no new growths, and a few leaves have sort of started to yellow. So again, just a trickle. It's not growing, it's not doing anything, so it just needs enough to stop it desiccating. And as I said, it's getting treated as a rester because it's a very warm grower and high light plant, and it's not getting either in the UK in here in the winter time. So it can't behave normally, can it? It can't do its thing. So we'll just do that. And then up here we've got my Dendrobium lodogessii kikis, which didn't grow very well last year. I'm a bit disappointed, quite honestly. They're alive, they have got some roots, but they didn't put on a lot of growth at all. Now, one would hope that come the better weather and the longer days, all of these tiny little plants will push out at least one new growth. They won't grow. They have their terminal leaves. They're not going to get any bigger. So growth progress on this has to be new growths. And it's probably a bit early for them to be doing that. Again, just a trickle. We've got no activity here. Just to stop them desiccating. It's like I say, you know, the drier in winter thing, drier and cooler in winter, it's all very well, but it's not, there isn't no rain at all over that period. There is some rain, even if it's only drizzly rain and not monsoon rain. And also there's mist and fog and stuff, so they're not bone dry during that period. Drier, yes, but not bone dry. And then the last one up on that rack is Lindleyi. Well, I'm glad I haven't got to use my other arm stretching that far. One that works and one that doesn't at the moment. Well, it works, it's just stiff, that's all. And the lady said, after effects, you might find your arm is a bit stiff. You might get a little bit of stiffness in some other joints. You might get a headache. You might feel a bit sick at times. Well, I haven't had any of that. I've just got the bruise from the hole, basically. So I think we've got off lightly. Lindleyi won't have any signs of growth, not now. So I don't even need to look. That's, again, it's not a late winter, early spring bloomer. It's blooms out towards summertime, very late spring. And it won't be coming into growth yet either. So a trickle for you, nothing more. Right, now we get on to some big stuff now. This is where it starts becoming a problem. Right. This troublesome thing, Chrysium, we're getting to the point where if my experiment is going to be done, I'm going to have to do it. But we're heading for cold weather at the weekend with the possibility of snow even down here in the south. So there's a few mealybugs in places on the, well, I presume they're mealybugs. It's only a couple. It's funny how they pick on one cane and all the rest are fine. That'll probably be the weaker cane, I suspect. So I need to deal with these while I can physically see them. Otherwise, when I flop the plant over to water it, all the canes will change positions. Right, so this thing, the theory with this is to chill it right down and see if it induces some blooming. I'm not sure it will. I don't know why it won't bloom. It's certainly a big enough and healthy enough plant. It's got a good root system. It grew an absolute stonking load of growths last year, but it has yet to bloom. So soon it's going to get some water because some of these canes are actively growing. Yeah, soon I'm going to try putting this outside for a period of time and only bring it in if the temperatures are going to drop down below sort of 7 or 8 degrees, which in this country at this time of year could be virtually every night. But it can go out and get some of that cold, fresh daytime air around it and see if that will kick it off. Right, that's that one. Now we're getting on to the really big stuff. One of these is probably going to go. I've got Dendrobium anosmum and Dendrobium nesta. out of the two, the Nesta is the better, simply because it has much deeper coloured blooms. The fragrance is a bit stronger, not a lot, but there's more of them, and I like the colour better, much deeper and stronger colour. Now this has got nubbins all down the new cane. I'm surprised, but these are not going to be so easy to see because they are only nubbins. So if I put my finger just above one and then bring it up to the camera, oh, that's going to shade it, isn't it? Let's see if I can do this differently somehow. I hold that leaf up in the air. If you look at the base of that leaf and then come down about 2 centimetres, you should see the nubbin. Yeah? I think I'm on camera. I'm holding my arm up in the air, that hurts. Right, so nubbins on here, starting at the bottom. 1, 2, oh, I'm going to miss one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, probably about 13 or 14. They usually come out in 2s or 3s, occasionally 4. So that wasn't a bad cane last year. It's as long as any of the others. The problem with it is only one. Come on. On a previous year, several years ago, it did actually produce 2, but they were much shorter. So we have a full length cane this time round that's still got all its leaves on, which is I'm not sure it should have its leaves on, and the nubbins are just showing. So we're not seeing buds yet, we're seeing a nubbin on the cane. That doesn't trigger watering and feeding. That triggers nothing. Yeah? So it's going to get a trickle, nothing more, just a trickle around the edges. Yeah? And then next time I look at this in a few weeks' time, we'll have a look and see how far out those nubbins have come. And if they're starting to form their buds, then we start the feed. Right. Get that there somewhere. So Nesta and anosmum, I think anosmum's going to go. They're just too similar, and they're both unwieldy, I think is the expression I like. And I've got a friend who now owns the National Dendrobium collection, who I'm sure will take donations into that collection directly. So I've got a place for them to go, and I won't have to post them. And I'm going to have to squeeze past the camera. The base of one of those canes is absolutely covered in probably scale. I don't think it's mealybugs. The camera's going to move while I get to my spray. I don't want to keep it in the greenhouse because it gets quite cold out here. Not supposed to chill chemicals down. Right, they're in there if you want to see. I don't know whether you can see them. They're in there, and there's a new growth there too. Yeah, that's it. You grab hold of my new growth, won't you? Tykes. Right, so this is a contact killer. So they are now drowning in it. So this one grew 2 short canes. Yeah, I can see there's some on the leaves too, as well as around the base of that cane. So this has got 2 short canes on it. That was last year's efforts. These 2 here, and these are previous year's efforts down here. So that didn't grow very well last year. Yeah, no sign of nubbins on those canes yet. So this it ought to be dormant, but this is odd, but really good. The new growth is here. This is the oldest part of the plant here. This is the newest part of the plant over here with the leaved canes on. So this is pushing out a new growth from a very old part of the plant, which is good. No sign of any new growths on the other bit. So an amount of water, not a lot. A bit too much there actually. I think this is one that we took off the mount a while back because it wasn't happy, and remounted it on the back of the mount with some new moss. So do you know, I think there's a second new growth in that part of the plant too, buried right down in there. Anyway, that one's coming into growth. Whether it's going to flower as well, who knows? It should do, it always has. And then the last one, is another biggie, is my Friedrichsianum Hannah, which is the one that won the RHS award at Malvern a couple of years ago now. Almost forgotten, so long ago. This is a monster of a plant as well, but this will never ever go anywhere. You know, having got an award and a name, you know, that I was allowed to choose that is registered against this plant, so this one's not going anywhere, is it? But what we've got here are quite a lot of new canes that should bloom. This, bearing in mind that was in full bloom at Malvern, which is the middle of June, there won't be any signs of any buds on here for some time. So this is effectively dormant, but the plant's still supporting these leaves, and believe it or not, this cane here, if I can get it in front of the camera, is actually growing. So it's going to get a watering because there is some growth on it. It's not a lot, but there is some. That cane's growing. That one's not, that's finished. That one's finished. That one's growing. That one's growing. So is that one. So quite a few of these canes are actually in growth. Now I can't remember whether it did that last winter or not. I just can't remember. But anyway, there's growth going on, and therefore it'll get watered. It's only water, it's not feed. Perhaps it could do with a little bit of feed if it's actively growing, and otherwise it'll use the nutrients up stored in the canes, which it's going to have plenty of that anyway. Anyway, that's that one, that's the last one as well, so that's it. Quick look at the difference in the light once all those plants are down off those racks. The difference in the light is absolutely incredible. It just shows how much those plants actually shade the ones below them. Very, very bright in here now, so, which is good stuff. So that's the look at those resting types, and we have some nubbins and in one case some buds. So I'll go and update my records now as to the ones that have got buds on, or heading towards buds. Keep those records up to date. Not much else going on out here, I must admit. Knock everything over, I suspect. But coming soon, I would say at long last, the big nobly that's been sat on the side here, the buds are starting to break. So a few days now and we should have some fully open blooms on here. They are large. For nobly type blooms, they are very large, which is sort of what attracted me to that one. That was a bit of a strange buy really, because it came from Burnham's from a visit while I was there, and I didn't like to leave without buying anything, so I had a sort of quick look round, and I saw this nobly in full bloom in the middle of summer with a broken new growth on it, and I just thought, they're very attractive blooms. Apart from that broken new growth, it's a very healthy plant. It wasn't expensive, it didn't have a name, but I found a name, and basically that was what I bought, so that'll be in bloom soon. There was another nobly with, I don't know where that's going to be. It lives up there, I know where it's going to go in a minute, but not where it is now. There's another nobly that's, it's a bush. It's lots and lots of smallish canes. It's grown into like a solid bush. Over last year, it put up a lot of new growths. It's currently growing 2 new growths, but that's got some nubbins on as well, so that will push on behind. Anyway, that'll do. My headphones have arrived. I did actually put my guitar lead into the drum box this morning and switch my guitar amp on, so I have actually heard the sound that the kit makes through a guitar amp, which is not ideal. and I've worked out that the sensible way to get the sound of those drums to the computer is through that very strange socket that is in fact a USB port, but it's the old style, yeah. And I had a look in my leads drawer. That's the man drawer where we keep all our leads that we haven't got a clue what they're for, but we keep them anyway. And believe it or not, there was one of those in there that actually went to a female USB, so it's like a startup lead. So I've ordered a long USB, and we'll go from there. We will be able to then plug the drum box into the computer, both for recording purposes obviously, and hopefully play through the speakers as well. Now I've never bothered trying to hook up the guitar amp, not that I've needed to really, directly to the computer, even though it's got the appropriate output on it. I've always stuck the camera in front of the amplifier and used the two microphones on the camera, because they are very, very good quality microphones. And that way I get a sort of stereo recording as well, even though the same noise is going into both microphones. You could get a stereo effect by actually putting a bit of tape over one of them, which would then only record, pardon me, loud into one channel, and then you could record something else swapping the tape over and get something loud in the other channel and get some spread in the sound. But not everybody listens to stuff in stereo anyway nowadays, unless you've got headphones on. But we've got the headphones, so we will have a bash around later on, because I can make as much noise as I like without disturbing anybody with the headphones on, which is the general idea. I'd prefer it if the neighbours don't even know I've got a drum kit. That's how I'd like it to be. It's like when I play my guitar, which is very rare. I keep the volume right down, but now I've got headphones, depending on what socket's on there, if I can play the guitar through the guitar amp and then into the headphones, that will be a real bonus, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, see you next time. Just a quick look at the resters, and let's get them all back up now. Well, I'll let them drip for a bit first. I presume it's lunchtime. Right, see you next time. Bye for now.